channel. My name's Angela and this is Devon Thread Tales. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to give you a tour of my sewing room slash space slash stuff. So I hope that's something that you would like to have a little look at. I've had a lot of requests asking me if I will do a sewing room tour, and I've really put off the idea of doing it because I don't have a specific room for doing my sewing in, and I thought, oh, what I've got isn't good enough to show, and I've just have to make do with what I've got, and it will look a bit silly if I show you that it's all over the place. But then I kind of got to thinking and thought, do you know what? Not everybody's got a sewing room or is lucky enough to have a sewing room. And I thought, well, I'll just show you what I've got. And it's not necessarily tidy or nice or pretty or fancy, but it is what I have. So I'm going to show you. I will say, I know I am incredibly lucky and very blessed that I have a designated sewing space in the corner of my room, or a room, and that I can use and not have to take apart and put back together again every time we're doing some other activity. So I am really lucky in that respect, but my sewing items are very disjointed and in lots of different places, so I thought I would just show you that, show you how I work, and I hope you like it. Anyway, see you at the end. So here we go then, welcome to a little bit of my home. So I'm going to take you through to the room where I do my actual sewing. You'll probably recognise this because this is where I do a lot of my filming, although I'm hoping that I'm going to be doing more of that in my summer house. And it is on the back of my dining room and at the back of my kitchen. So the room spreads across the two, and we have these archways, one which has got a wall underneath it and one where you can walk through. And whilst I don't have my own sewing room, I do have my own little sewing corner. It's not a very fancy desk, but it's just a little desk and chair my husband got for me because he realised I was struggling with getting my sewing machine on the dining room table, and then every time we had tea I had to remove it, so it was a bit of a pain. Obviously the machines there are normally covered over, but I've opened them up so I can show you what I've got. Before I show you the machines, I will just show you. So I keep this cutting board underneath my settee because it keeps it nice and flat. It's totally out of the way. When I'm not using it, it isn't inconvenient to me in any way. And either I will do a bit of cutting out on this cutting board if it's a small garment and I haven't got much to do, just on the floor, or if I'm doing a batch lot of cutting or it's a much bigger garment, then I will pop this cutting board and I will just literally put it up onto my dining room table, move my chairs out of the way and do some cutting on there, which is a bit better for my back if I'm honest. So before I start showing you everything that's on my desk, I thought I would just show you what my view is like when I'm sat at my sewing desk. I've just got my garden to look out on, and somewhere in the corner there is my summer house, and my family are chilling out in there at the moment. I think my husband is actually asleep. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my blind down to be able to show you everything on my sewing desk, because as you can see, if I come back, it's very dark because of the light and you won't be able to see anything. So I'll just do that and come back to you. There we go, that's better. Right, okay, so I'll start with my machines. I have a Janome 6234XL overlocker. I've never had an overlocker before. This is my first one. I've had it probably just over 12 months, and I got it from David Drummond Machines in Edinburgh. It is a fantastic machine. I had lots of advice from David Drummond's. They are an amazing shop to get help from and advice from. They have been so helpful, and I've had lots of friends who've actually gone to them as well. Obviously I don't live in Edinburgh, but they're able to help really well. So that's my overlocker. Then this is my sewing machine. It is a Husqvarna Viking Opal 690Q. It isn't an embroidery machine as such, but it does have lots of embroidery stitches, so that's quite good, and I'm really pleased with it. My mum has always had Husqvarnas, so when I've needed to borrow a machine in the past, that's what I've used. So when I went to go and get mine, which I bought from Exeter Sew Machine Company, they I was trying lots of different ones, and I was so used to the Husqvarna machine and what it operated like that it made sense for me to go with that one. And I'm really, really pleased. I don't know whether or not I will go for a Husqvarna again another time, but certainly there's nothing that I can say that I don't like about it. It's brilliant. You might notice I keep this on a white, it's actually like a table protector, something that you put underneath a tablecloth on a wooden table. I just find this really easy when I want to sew. Obviously my machine is right in front of me, but then sometimes I want to just move my machine out the way like that and pull my overlocker over so it's in the center, so it's much more convenient for me. And it's just great because I'm not picking it up and putting it down. I feel like it's not going to hurt the machine just being slid across the table. So that's why I've got that on those, and it works really well for me. So things around my sewing table. I have a picture of my girls. They're very young there. They're actually a lot older than that now, but it's my favourite picture from when we went on a little break to London, and they were all very chilly but sat on a wall. We'd had a great day out, and I just love that picture of them. I've got lots of sewing bits and bobs in a old pot that had some perfumes and smellies in it, so I've just used that and put some cardboard in it to separate, to make it a little bit easier to keep everything in there. I do have a very, very, very old picture of my cat that my husband and I had when we first got married. He's called Tigger, but he's no longer with us, but he's very gorgeous. But I just keep a little picture of him next to me. On this side I have a little plaque that says the best things in life are the people we love, the places we've been, and the memories we've made along the way. I've got this gorgeous, gorgeous photo album book that my daughter made for my husband and I one Christmas, and it's got lots of gorgeous photos and happy little phrases and memories in there. Now I also always keep on my sewing table a little pencil case, and my pencil case has got all the bits and bobs which I always need for sewing. Now I know I have the pen pot over there, but I find that things get quite lost in it, and this pencil case is really, really useful for lots of different reasons, but I'll talk about that as I'm going. So I then have this little tabletop drawer unit, which is actually a drawer unit that I think we got for one of my daughters a few years ago, and she used it for stationery and bits and pieces. I think she might put nail varnish and makeup and things in it, and then she just decided one day that she probably didn't need it anymore, and we were about to get rid of it, and I thought, that'll be very useful for me. So I keep lots of different things, not necessarily in very much order, but everything in there. That's all my elastics in there. I've got all my threads, and a friend of mine called Tracy, she gave me a little packet of these fabulous bobbin and cotton thread holders. I absolutely love them, so I keep all my bobbins together with that. Again, not very neatly put in there, but anyway, I don't know. At least they're all in one place. I think this is, ribbons and bias binding and other bits and pieces that I need. So that's quite helpful, laces and whatnot. I've then got all my labels in there that I've bought, which are great. I like these. I'm quite new to labels. I haven't used them a lot, but I've started using them recently, and I really love the finished look that it gives a garment when you put that on. So that's the label. Oops, label box. Quite difficult doing this with one hand. And then what's in here? Oh yeah, so this is, in here I've got my stay tape. I think that's what you call it, stay tape. 2 lots of that, and I've actually got some wax for making some wax wraps, but I've just not got around to making any yet. So that's that one. I've got a feeling this one is a spare drawer. Yeah, that one's spare. So underneath the blind, and I'm too afraid to lift it up in case it gets it gets very dark. Got a little sewn up froggy there, but I'm going to bring down the tins and show you what I've got on those. So one of the tins on top of my little drawer unit is just a really cheap tin. I think it was £1 or £2 from a shop called Tiger or something like that in town, and I just keep my clips on that one. And then I had a little tin that, I don't know, I think it came with some jewellery in or something, so I've just popped all of my machine needles in there. And what I really like about having my pencil case to one side is that I used to get quite mixed up. If I had taken a long time between one project and the next, sometimes I would get myself a bit muddled and think, oh, I don't know what needle it is. So what I do is I normally take out whatever I'm going to use. So that's not a very good example. Right, here we go. This one here. So just say I'm using some heavier weight fabric and I need the 90 needles. I will then put that case in my pencil case so that when I have finished, I know that those are the needles that need to go back. I know it sounds silly, but I just get really forgetful, and that's an easy way to see to it for me. So that's what's on my tins there. I will just also say, while I'm here doing this, I picked up a tip which I think was from Tamlin from Sewn on the Tyne. When I have finished either one project or sometimes after a couple of projects, what I normally do is I take all of my machines apart and I give them, sounds silly, but a little bit of a hoover out all on the components here and inside there. And I'll do the same with my sewing machine. Whoops. I'll actually take all of this section apart, remove everything, the bobbin and everything, give it a little hoover out. But then something that Tamlin suggested was using a clean makeup brush, and I just go around and I make sure it's all really, really clean. And the same for my overlock. I get into all those nooks and crannies and make sure it's all cleaned out. And I just feel like that's hopefully going to prolong the life of my machines and help them to run a bit more smoothly each time I go to do another project. I had a bit of an issue a long time ago when I was sewing something and it was just a shirt cotton, and no matter what I did, it was all the stitches were bumpy or missing, or it was just an absolute nightmare. And then I realised that it wasn't clean underneath the bobbin, and as soon as I cleaned it, just literally with a brush, it literally ran smooth as anything again. So I really try and make sure I do that now after one or two projects. So around my desk, I have, underneath here, I have lots of little shelves, and on the bottom shelf, I won't pull it all out, but on the bottom shelf I keep my buttons and my snaps and poppers for putting on garments. Oh, actually, I will pull out. I tell a lie. I also have a little tin here with my pattern weights on them. I don't have any fancy pattern weights, and I would like some, but maybe I might get some for Christmas. But I bought these really, really cheap little tins, and my husband had a whole load of old nails and things, and I just filled them up with that, so they're really nice and weighty. And I had a couple of old paper weights, so I just did that. Oh, and I used my baking balls from my kitchen in them as well. So that's my buttons and paperweights and things. I then have a whole load of bought patterns. All of these that are in here, these have all been put in order. I've also entered them onto my Trello board, and then I've got another little box of patterns there which I haven't quite yet managed to get into Trello, so they're just waiting, and then hopefully I'll free that shelf up because they can all go in with that one. I then keep next to my sewing machine these little books, which I find really useful to have literally to hand. So the first one is my overlocker book, which I keep this page permanently open, so that when I go to use, depending on what fabric that I'm using, I know what settings I'm meant to put my overlocker on. So that's really great. And then obviously my machine user guide, and then I recently bought this, and I think this is absolutely fabulous. I got it from Sew Essential, and it is a Gutterman thread guide, and it is just so fabulous because over lockdown, when you couldn't go to a shop to buy anything, but you could order online, it was so difficult to know what thread colour to get, and this was just perfect. And I have to say, I tested it, and I took out a few threads that I already have and checked it against the colour, and they are 100% spot on. I absolutely love it. It was quite pricey, but from now on I use that and it has been so good. I can't recommend that enough. And like I say, I got that from Sew Essential. So that's what I keep underneath my desk in the little shelves. I've then got a set of 3 drawers. So first drawer is a little bit of a pick and mix really. I've got a bag full of my interfacing. I've then got just some cloth bags that I use for when I go and do some fabric shopping, and other little bits and pieces, a hammer for when I'm hammering in my denim buttons and things like that. I know this is a bit weird that I've got rope in here, but I made my daughter a great big wash bag for putting her washing in when she was at uni, and that I used that as the tie. I'm not some weirdo with a hammer and rope in her sewing drawer. I've then got this drawer which has got again, lots of knickknacks really. I keep all the postcards from the people that I've bought material from, like Material Girl Laura, Crafty So-and-so, and etc, etc. I've got some little notebooks just in case. These are ones that the girls just decided they didn't want to keep anymore, so I grabbed those. Do also have a set of 6 tiles which are really heavy, and again I use those as pattern weights, but I just keep them in there to keep them out of the way. And I also wanted to show you this. I think these are fabulous. I'll try and show you on the floor. So I've had, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, I've had my colours done. I had them done a long time ago, but I had them done again recently. And my children have had theirs done as well. And all my children except one and myself, we are all a winter palette, and so I've got this winter palette colour chart, which is a really good guide to show you what colours really suit your skin tone, etc. You don't have to do this, it's just something that I quite like to do. I know that these colours suit me far more than say things that are very autumnal. And then my daughter is a summer colour, so I bought this so that when I'm looking at fabric for her, I've got some, well, I can't fan this one out, it's obviously done up a bit tighter. I can actually you know, find some material that's going to suit her skin tone. So I quite like that, and I keep that to hand so that I can have a really good look at fabrics online, fabrics in my stash, and then think about what garments I'm going to make. I totally forgot to show you the last drawer. So the last drawer has got a couple of bits and pieces in it, like 2 teddies called Salt and Pepper, which was on my daughter's bed, and now she's nearly 20. She says she's too old to have these teddies, so that's fine, but I can't bring myself to throw them away. Anyway, that's by the by. I have this drawer, and I've just recently sorted this out so this drawer is empty, so that when I am doing a project and I need to finish for the night or the day or what have you, I can just pop that one project in here and keep it all together, and I don't have to necessarily pack it all away all the time. So that is my sewing desk, and then right behind my sewing desk, and Ellen is in the kitchen cooking some tea. I have this sort of chest box, I don't know quite what you call it. Now on top of here, this is a little bag which I made. I think this is one of the first things I made actually, before I started making clothes, and I keep in there a knitting project that I'm doing at the moment, and quite excited about doing that. I try and do a few rows minimum each day, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Anyway, we'll see. I'm more into sewing than I am into knitting. So that's my knitting, and then I have this chest box which I keep all of my printed out A0 and PDF patterns. Now this is just the patterns, it's not the instructions, and I keep them in these A3 clear folders that I got from Amazon. And then any patterns that I've had printed but I haven't cut out yet, I have in the side here. So they're not in any particular order or anything. I just keep them there until I want them. So that's what I store my A0 printed out copy shop patterns. Sorry, I couldn't remember what it was called. So everybody has a messy room, right? This is what should be my garage, but we actually keep it as a bit of a utility. It's a complete mess. It is where my washing machine is and sink, and then I have all of these great big cupboards here, which used to be, when my children were little, toy cupboards, and then they've been useful for keeping bits and pieces in, shoes and all that sort of thing. And my freezer, got all my dog bedding. I have a crate down there because my dogs sleep in there at night. But above the crate, I have this cupboard. So I'll just open it up. Now I've recently sorted this out and it's not fully completed yet, but I have, let's see if I can stand back and show you the inside. I have these storage boxes, which are quite large, and I have folded up all of my fabrics into these storage boxes. So I have lots of jerseys in here and here, more cotton, heavier weight sort of denims and coating fabrics and things like that in there. I've now created space so that I can actually put another one of these boxes in here, but I haven't actually managed to do that yet. So for the moment, it's just all washed and folded up, clearly not very neatly. Now I'm looking at it, I'm a bit embarrassed actually. But so I've put some more fabrics up there, but I only sorted this out today, so I need to go and get another box so that I can fold it all up similarly to this. I'll pull one of these boxes out in a moment and show you what that looks like. And then I've got another box which is a bit too big for the cupboard on top, and that's got lots of viscose and things like that in there. And then another box which has got fat quarters and ribbing and things like that. So this is one of the boxes that I've just pulled out. Just take it off, it's just a little clicky box, and I've just got all of my different I don't know what that is, fabric folded up in here. Like I say, this is more sort of jersey fabric. I keep some remnants in there, so for instance I've already used this on a garment, but I have some left, and I think it's enough to possibly make a garment. I have got a few bits which I think I need to let go of, and I'm wondering about doing a destash account over on Instagram, and I don't know if anybody would be interested in that. Helen from Stitch Rip Repeat, oh I really have trouble saying her name, Stitch Rip Repeat, has done a destash account. In fact, I think lots of people have, and she says it's, you know, it's a really good way to, you know, offload some of your fabric and then get something that you're more in love with and that you're going to use, because what's the point of it just sitting there not doing anything? But not that I'm saying I don't want to use these, but this is very much like what all of my boxes are like. They're just sort of folded up, and I have got the majority of all my fabrics now on Trello. I know I mentioned Trello a moment ago with my patterns, and I would say that Tamlin from Sewn on the Tyne has done an excellent video on how to use Trello and how to get that in. And I watched that because I tried to use Trello before and I just didn't get on with it. And then I watched her video on it and it was absolutely fantastic. So I can't recommend that enough. It's really, really good. Very straightforward. She shows you step by step. And I have to say, I think it's a fantastic app. So that's my fabric cupboard with some of my stash in one of the boxes. So I'll just show you another bit. So in my garage I have one designated cupboard to some of my sewing bits and pieces. So this cupboard has got some folders in it which have my PDF patterns, instructions, so they're all in these folders here. And then I have a few of my sewing books. I haven't got a massive range of books, although I have got one book which I find hilarious. I will just take it out and show you. I just love this. My mum actually got this for me. I don't know where she got it from, but it's called the Encyclopedia of Sewing. But some of the fashion in there, I'll try and find some, is just fantastic. I mean, look at this. It's obviously a very, very old book. I mean, it's got all of the different techniques and things in it, but I just think it's fabulous. Oh, look at that. Look at the fabric and the style. Oh, and her hairdo. That's fab, isn't it? Anyway, sorry, that's not what I'm meant to be showing you. So this is my cupboard with my patterns and my pattern books in it. I have recently subscribed to Sew Hayley Jane, and these are the boxes that the Sew Hayley Jane fabrics come in. This is an empty one, but I've been keeping a few bits and pieces in there. I've got some patterns. I've made a dog bed and I've got the pattern for that in there, which I just made up myself, and I've got a face mask pattern which I've just put the templates of that in there, and I also keep some wallets for keeping projects in. So this little basket here is what I keep my cutout or current projects in. So I have a few different bits and pieces. I've got a few here not in bags, but again, these were from Amazon. I think Patsy Poo Makes on Instagram suggested these bags from Amazon, and that's what she keeps her projects in, and I thought they were such a good idea. So I've got here a little dress that I made for my daughter, but the straps are a bit too long, so I need to adjust that, and trousers and things like that. I've got various projects that I've cut out all ready for sewing, and generally I cut out the projects, put them in there, and if I have the zips, buttons, cotton, etc, I put it all in one, and normally I would then put the instructions in with it as well, just so that that keeps it all together and I don't have to go rummaging around for it when I start sewing. And then finally, I think this is it. I have my overlocker threads just in a little box here. I need a bigger box really because I need more colours and it's too big. There's too much for the box as it is. Oh, and I will just show you my PDF patterns. Again, pop that over here in my folders. I just have those all printed out and then just in punch pockets, and I just use that for sort of looking through. But again, I've put pretty much all of these on Trello now, so I don't have to go rummaging around in there to find or see what patterns I've got. So that's it, that's my sewing room tour. I hope that you really enjoyed that. I'm more than happy to have some opinions from you guys if you have any suggestions in which you think it would be better that I work in a different way, or how it might work better for me, or set up, etc. But at the end of the day, I still only have the space that I have and the areas that I have, so I can only use those designated spots to be able to do that. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I really hope that I've hopefully given some people some inspiration that you don't have to have a big fancy room. And don't get me wrong, if I had the chance to have one, I would have one, but I don't. But I'm happy with what I've got. Anyway, I hope you guys are all well. You have a good week. You take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye. That's my sewing room space store.